Hi guys. Hello. How are you? Are you well? Are you really well? You have to convince me because I'm not convinced about this. Are you well? Are you excited about our talk this evening? Come on. Come on. Yeah, that's all you got? Well, welcome. I'm very excited to be here. I'm very excited to introduce our keynote speaker, Mr. Valentine Uhovski, the Tumblr evangelist. Here he is. Hi.
Yeah, it's so awesome to be here. Right off the plane and Gucci show, here we are, so.
Gucci to Tumblr.
Yeah, totally.
So you can start.
Well, it's such an honor to be here, guys. I love Milan. I've been coming to Milan Fashion Week for close to 7 years. In my past career, before I worked at Tumblr, I worked as a fashion editor and journalist. So I've probably been to more shows that I could count, on hundreds and hundreds of fingers. So a lot of them, but. So it's great to be here in this capacity, and I'll just introduce you to Tumblr and what I do on an everyday basis. I have a funny sounding title of being a fashion evangelist, but it's as fun as it sounds because we have an amazing group, working at Tumblr. I get to work with an amazing group of designers and bloggers and creators around the world, and I'll just give you a little bit of background of what I do day to day and what Tumblr and fashion consists of. Just to give you a little bit of a background beforehand, fashion is sort of the biggest vertical in Tumblr. It represents about 17% of all our top blogs, which is actually like a great deal considering that we're hit about 95 million as of last, an hour ago, which is crazy, And we're going to be at 100 million in about 2 weeks, so it's going to be a big, big party for us. But I'll go through what Tumblr is and what we do on an everyday basis, So Tumblr is sort of like the world of home, home of some of the biggest creators in the world, It was started about 5.5 years ago by David Karp in New York City, and it's probably one of the few huge tech companies that was sort of born and raised in New York, and is still obviously based in New York as well. And we all work here in offices. The little dog that you see in the picture is Tommy. He's our Pomeranian intern. He's a former prize-winning Pomeranian who still works with us every single day. He goes to recruitment meetings, and he has a blog called TommyPom.com, which you definitely should check out because it's amazing. He's definitely as famous as Beyonce on Tumblr, and he's amazing. So these are a few of the numbers. Like I said, we actually hit 95 million just an hour ago, which is fantastic. We get about 180 million uniques visitors in US. In the world months, and 72 million in US, which is crazy, So when 84 million posts are published every single day on Tumblr, and that all translates to close to 3 billion monthly minutes a month, which is a phenomenal amount. For the first time, we hit a lot of big milestones last year. One of them was being one of the top 10 sites in US for the first time. And considering that we only have about 150 people working at Tumblr, considering thousands and thousands of Google and Facebook, it became a big milestone for us. And I think it's due to all of our creators around the world, which we've been actually very, very excited about. And you could sort of see our, brag chart of us growing with every single week and month. But it's a fun place to work with, like I said, because, like I mentioned before, David really founded the company in New York, and we really are based there. For me personally, being a fashion evangelist at Tumblr in New York, I'm very grateful and thankful to actually be amongst many designers and houses and models that are on Tumblr every single day, so I get to interact with them on day-to-day basis. But I'll go into that in a little bit. And for example, we had 132,000 new users just yesterday, and that's how much we get about every single day. 200,000 on a good day, 120 on an average day. And that's how many new blogs are registered on a daily basis. And you could sort of see explosion of content in billions of posts from 2 years ago to basically just a few weeks ago, which has been crazy. Since I started Tumblr last year, I joined Tumblr in January of last year, content sort of our traffic has tripled actually since then, which is crazy, and so the number of blog posts. And you can see some of the demographics in case of you, some of you are scientific, but it's pretty even-handed. It's about 50-50, you know, female to male. And a lot of people associate Tumblr with being a very youth-oriented network and a lot of teenagers being obsessed over it, but it's actually pretty even-handed all around. And I think that's why, you know, it's been really, really crucial for fashion brands over the last year. So people around Tumblr are sort of obsessed. Like I am, you know, I wish I could like do this 12 hours a day, but I can't because I have to do meetings and interact with people on a daily basis. But I do usually do most of my Tumblr dashboarding at night. So right now, people spend about 14.9 minutes on Tumblr per average visit, which is close to 3 times bigger than Twitter right now, you know, and more than 9.3 minutes that's spent on Pinterest on a daily basis. I think it's mostly because of our never-ending dashboard. You know, once you're on a dashboard, you just keep scrolling and scrolling and scrolling and just become obsessed like I do. I track probably like more than 100 topics and more than 1,100 blogs, and I know a lot of the people do the same thing. And right now, Tumblr generates about 29.8 page views per visit, which is about 5 times greater than Twitter and more than twice greater than Pinterest. So it's extremely engaging. So out of the 95 million people that are blogging on Tumblr and 180 million people that use it every single day, they really spend a lot of time on it and they really stay engaged. And like I mentioned in my opener, 17% of our top blogs are fashion. So we actually have a lot of different evangelists in our office. So we have somebody doing books and entertainment and art and food for the first time in video games, but I'm sort of like the eldest senator. I get to have the biggest state, having the most blogs, you know, and it also helps, like I said, in New York, we have a lot of fashion bloggers. We do a lot of our fashion week programs, interact with a lot of designers. We have people come through every single day. We have celebrities that visit us in the office, and we actually converted one of our closets into a Tumblr studio, so we do this series called Trapped in a Tumblr Closet. And so we have a lot of fashion designers and models that come through there every single week, actually, on basis. So this is what, like, Tumblr, this is fashion.tumblr.com. This is sort of the page that we built up because there have been so many amazing big fashion brands on Tumblr. We sort of wanted to put everything into one and just to centralize things. And I'll go through with some of the most notable ones. I'm not going to bore you because I know there are hundreds of them, but you know, Dior is a beautiful page. I definitely would check it out. They actually just launched about months ago. Welcome. Armani is another big one. They're a recent launch, but they're putting up a lot of beautiful exclusive videos, and some of their first early campaign images have been put on Tumblr as well. Hermès just launched actually just weeks ago publicly, and they have a beautiful illustration blog which looks really, really cool. Stella McCartney's interesting Tumblr because they put up a lot of art. So whether it's like Ed Ruscha or Rothko or just some of the other stuff that Stella's inspired by goes on that Tumblr. What's interesting to note, you know, number one question that I get asked when I go to fashion meetings with fashion brands is like, well, how is Tumblr different from, you know, Pinterest or Facebook or Twitter? Every single page that I'll show you or that you'll see on Tumblr is very different, you know. So, and I think that's why fashion companies sort of went to, you know, join Tumblr really early on. I would say about 3.5 years ago when we were still sort of developing, because they wanted to find something new and exciting within the community that they couldn't find anywhere else. Gucci is more traditional Tumblr. They put up a lot of cool product exclusives as well. Dolce & Gabbana is another one that really puts up a lot of their news. Culture Club by Club Monaco is actually one of my favorites because they don't showcase any products on their Tumblr, but they tend to focus on just beautiful art and architecture and landscapes and just really excite people about what's going on in the world. And Calvin Klein have, you know, made Tumblr their #1 primary social channel. So they hired Hanley to be their full-time curator for the blog. They also put up all their exclusives. When that Super Bowl ad came out with that crazy naked guy, you know, so they put up, I think, 2 weeks worth of exclusive on Tumblr, and it was generating a lot of attention for them. and Ralph Lauren has 3 Tumblrs actually. This is just one of them. And Tommy was a star of the Tiffany's Tumblr that launched in November. He actually hosted that party, which was fantastic. Lacoste does something really exciting every single week with their art and architectural projects and color schemes and patterns. And Marc Jacobs, who are covering their show all the time. Mark himself actually sends his own pictures through their Tumblr, which they use constantly, which is fantastic. This is actually eBay's chic-looking inside source Tumblr. You know, eBay is obviously the brand that we all know, and we probably secretly shop there in the middle of 3 o'clock in the morning, but they decided to put up a really beautiful curatorial and editorial page, which looks fantastic. And this is Harper's Bazaar. They actually were so obsessed over Tumblr, they decided to do a Harper's Bazaar in US, did a whole series of designers tumbling. So they featured Francisco Costa and Michael Kors and Olivier Teiskens doing really crazy Tumblr-obsessed stuff. This is Joseph Altazura and Alexander Rank. And what's really cool about the platform is that we don't really put any of our designers in a corner. So every single designer or celebrity or model that's on Tumblr is being treated like any other blogger. Because we don't disclose follower accounts, we don't say that, we don't put brands in a corner and say, well, these people are popular, you should follow them, or kind of like some of the social networks do. But we really encourage all the people to really join Tumblr, interact with the community, follow people, reblog people, and really be part of the community. So Jessica Stam became one of our biggest Tumblr bloggers last year. She's like obsessed over her blog. Corinne Rothfield launched her entire universe on Tumblr. So her entire site, the magazine, is on the platform, and she became obsessed as well. And Nicola Formichetti became one of the probably biggest champions of the platform, because I think he has 4 different Tumblr's accounts. For Mugler, for his own site. This is actually my favorite. He encouraged the entire Tumblr community to hack his panda symbol. So I think he got more than 11,000 submissions in just 1 week. He created t-shirts out of it, became kind of a global enterprise. So he created a brand out of Tumblr, which was amazing. He also put Azealia Banks on Tumblr and Gaga, and he's amazing. And every time he switches his Tumblr theme, he calls it Tumblr Botox, because he just gets bored and just moves on and does something really fun with himself. And Terry Richardson actually moved his entire site on Tumblr, and he puts up, I think, up to 14 pictures a day, which is crazy. So one day we get Lady Gaga, the next day we get Penelope Cruz and Charlotte Free, and he's awesome. And then Beyonce, I think Beyonce was like launched in April of last year, and the whole world became obsessed, so including us, and I actually got to speak with her about a month after her launch in May, and she pushed away her bodyguards just to say how much she loves Tumblr, and she actually does it herself. She's very involved, and I think her blog is one of the most popular because she's really truly behind it. She takes her own pictures. She's obsessed over fashion. She's obsessed over her personal style. So when we see pictures like this, it makes us very, very happy, and she's very close to us and what we do, which is fantastic. Coco Roche is actually the #1 most followed model on Tumblr, and I know she's most followed on like Google Plus and Twitter and Facebook. The girl just knows how to do social media, so we all need to take a lesson from her. That's another panel. So, so much of my work every single day consists of working with bloggers. We actually have opened up. We have an open door policy in our offices, so anytime like a blogger wants to come into Tumblr, a fashion blogger, and meet me, they're welcome to any time, as long as I'm there, not in Milan, obviously. And so we started hosting breakfasts and meetups and dinners for bloggers to introduce them to brands, to take them to fashion weeks. We started with doing our fashion week program about 2 years ago in New York. Just last week we finished our 5th season. Bloggers actually went to 116 events, which was a record. They went to pretty much every single show. They had editors-in-chief schedules, and we are very, very sort of close to our blogger community. This was just an event that we held a week ago for Kohan, and we brought some of the biggest alumni in the world to the thing, and they're just, like I mentioned, we have programs in London, in Sao Paulo, in Moscow, in Berlin, and we're doing stuff in Paris. Hopefully we're coming to Milan next season, which is going to be fantastic for us as well. And I just wanted to show some of my favorite blogger works from the past just few weeks. This is FastGIF. This is Greta Larkins. She's amazing. She's 27 years old, and she does design and market research in Australia. And then in the middle of the night, when all of us are asleep, she makes these incredible fashion GIFs. And we discovered her site about a year ago, and now she's one of the most followed Tumblr bloggers in the world.
What's her name?
Greta Larkins.
Greta? Okay.
Yeah.
Greta Larkins.
Yeah, fastgif.tumblr.com. And you should just put up some of her GIFs look like. I just put in my favorites from last week from New York Fashion Week. This was Oscar de la Renta, I believe. It was amazing. This is from Ralph Simmons' last collection. She sort of paid a tribute to him last week again, which is beautiful as well. These are Mr. GIF guys. So GIF obviously became a big thing for us. GIF is one of the sort of the biggest phenomenons on Tumblr, and actually was in America was word of the year by Oxford Dictionary, and they credited Tumblr with sort of making it really big and huge again. And these are Mr. GIF guys who made these brand new GIFs at the Jeremy Scott, the Margiela show in New York just a week ago as well. This is GIF and She, which is, they're also amazing. And obviously they did GIF and She, and also the brand new Calvin Klein campaign, which just ended. I love Skate Moss, which is awesome. All they do is they put up pictures of, they put a new skateboard pretty much every single day with photos, iconic photos of Kate Moss on them, which I love. This is Menswear Dog, which just launched 2 weeks ago as well. It became one of the top launches so far of 2013. So it's a new trend, dogs wearing really expensive clothes, you know. So they just put, actually we found out that people of GQ are behind this blog, which is on who, but they put up their personal office dog into, like, you know, Ralph Simmons and, you know, Chris Van Esch for Dior and Billy Reed, and looks amazing. And it's another one of those illustration animal. Maybe it's a new trend of animals wearing really expensive stuff, you know. So they put turkeys and turtles and rabbits into really amazing elaborate stuff, which looks great. And sexy sweaters. I'm personally obsessed over that site. You know, they just put up really cool. Yeah, they just go crazy, but they don't sell them. So I wish I could produce a sexy sweaters factory and actually sell these things, you know. So, and this is Ubiquitouture, another one of my favorite new blogs that just basically pits beautiful artwork against straight from the runway images, and it looks fantastic. And that's pretty much it. You know, I'm very easy to contact. I'm just valentine@tumblr.com, but we're not close to finishing just yet. We're gonna go to a bunch of questions. And fashion.tumblr.com is our URL. I actually wanted to showcase a video for you guys. We just actually made it last week in New York when we were doing our blogger program, so you could get a sense of what we do on a day-to-day basis and how bloggers operate. And also has cameo by David, who's our CEO and founder. He's only 26 years old, but he's already achieved a lot. So hopefully you could get a sense of what that looks like.
That kids on Tumblr are the future of fashion?
Yeah, why not? I'm here.
Hey guys, CJ Cut here. We're gonna go inside, behind the scenes, Tumblr for New York Fashion Week. Do you have like a favorite post?
Yeah, it's Lisa. I've taken a photo of her.
We'll try to make a louder figure.
It was kind of insane. It was a little bit scary. That many people have seen me and wanted me on their blog.
How many blogs do they have?
60,000. I think the blogger idea was so disruptive because the whole fashion industry had literally bought the editors. They bought the industry. All of a sudden, all these bloggers come, and they don't own them.
I know that I don't read fashion magazines, and none of my friends really read fashion magazines. They're kind of, becoming obsolete.
Do you think, trends have kind of died because of platforms like Tumblr?
Definitely, because at the end of the day, platforms like Tumblr enable everybody to share their own taste, share their own style. It's kind of congregated into one thing, like a trend.
From when I first started, it was essentially just like the 20 bloggers, and then in 2007, Tumblr came along.
What's your blog?
My name is David Karp. My blog is davidblog.com.
Guys, I'm just kidding, because David Karp is the founder of Tumblr.
I think the art
and media that we create and enjoy. It's another whole big part of the human experience.
I think it just became a lot bigger, a lot more international. You know, in fashion in particular, just seeing how fashion coverage has evolved.
More people are doing things with their phone constantly and not looking at anything.
I know a lot of the bloggers who are on Tumblr. I think it's an amazing platform for current people who are in the know.
I most love to describe it as a home for creators.
I think it's opened up a stage for people who might otherwise not have a voice within the industry.
The people that rise to the top of Tumblr, it's not because of celebrity, it's because of like their vision.
It's a little bit of pressure because, you know, you always feel like you got to do something new.
It's a double-edged sword because it's like, what gives you credibility? The little piece of it, that's self-appointed expert. That's like, hey, I'm an expert.
If you look at a community like the fashion community, sort of unbound. So many different genres, editorial, photography.
Filmmaker or designer or musician, that this generation, they're all creators.
At some point it kind of reached a tipping point, but now it's growing very fast. Now there's hundreds of thousands of people looking at it every day.
I came to New York to be a stylist, and this was just a hobby. I had friends that were doing it. They were all women. So I was like, I have cute style. I think I should have a blog as well.
On my blog, I can't promise you'll like it. It's pretty eclectic. It's just a lot of shit that I really love.
John Januzzi, he started working at Kate Spade. Last season's menswear blogger Jay's. Just 2 weeks ago, he started photo editor GQ.
I do freelance for the New York Times. I do social media for them for Twitter and Instagram.
Did Tumblr Fashion Week a whole year and a half ago. Since then, I actually got a job.
Where do you work now?
I work in an report.
Every single brand to be successful on Tumblr has to act like a Tumblr blogger.
It's staggering, actually, how the technology has changed what Fashion Week's about and the whole fashion business.
For some people, you know, things like Tumblr kind of scare them.
It should scare them because it's disruptive. But the whole landscape is disruptive. It's always changing.
Thank you for watching The Insiders. I hope you learned as much as I did. If you enjoyed this episode of Style Course, subscribe below for more.
This is a little exclusive video which literally just wrapped 3 hours ago, so these guys are first to see it, you know, so what our bloggers look like from Fashion Week, yeah.
Thank you very much. It's a very cool video. I'd like to open the floor up for some questions now. I guess we can start in the front and then we'll work our way back. Does anyone have a question for Valentine? Come on, don't be shy, because I'm going to ask questions after, and you're not going to believe that I have a blog when I ask them. Come on, no questions? None? I have a question. Oh, you have a question. Okay, go ahead.
Hi, I'm Daria, and
oh, Mike. Okay.
Hi, I am Daria, and I have a blog on Tumblr. It's Fregole. I do it with her, and I use it it's just 6 months I use it, and everything is very improved because I'm not a very technical person. I don't know codes or something similar. And now it's easier. I wanted to ask you if it's going to change and to be always easier for everybody, or if there will be other changes in the dashboard and for users and bloggers.
You know, David is kind of an interesting person because he, like in a way, like maybe like Steve Jobs, he always likes to make things simpler for people. So when we started Tumblr, it actually he takes away things. He doesn't add things on, if that makes any sense. You know, so every time we introduce a new feature, it tries to simplify things. So when we introduced a new post form, they became a lot more simpler than the previous ones. When we do search and spotlight, I think search is another big thing that could improve, because right now you could only really search by tags on Tumblr, and soon we'll have actually a really advanced search engine, which is going to be wonderful, because there are thousands of amazing images up there, and like I want to find them all like now, you know, instead of just searching for tags or going through Google Images. So I think that's one feature that we're working on actively that's going to improve. Other than that, I think David always strives to perfect and actually makes stuff more simpler and more to the point, which I think that's what you've really been seeing, you know. And it's fantastic that you've been using. I love to see your blog as well. You have to send it to me.
It's so cute. She's going to actually present it in a little while.
Oh, wow. Amazing.
They are actually going to present it. Was that clear? Does anyone want me to repeat it in Italian so you can see how sexy my Italian is? You want me to repeat it?
I want to hear you say it in Italian.
Vuoi? Ok. Lui ha detto che David piace fare le cose semplici, così non aggiungere altri feature.
Awesome, I love that.
Come on, other questions.
I have a question. She said I have to stand up, so. Hi everyone, I'm Eleonora. I'm a blogger too. I just have a question. Why should I choose Tumblr instead of WordPress?
I mean, the number one reason is that WordPress posts, I actually had a WordPress blog before, so did David. You know, he had Blogspot and WordPress. It's like you know, that it's fairy tale with three little bears. They needed to find the perfect bed for them to fit in, you know. But WordPress blogs actually get about 0.9 comments per post. And Tumblr blogs get about 9 notes per post. So that's a huge difference. The biggest difference is that WordPress doesn't have a community. It doesn't have that dashboard where you could actually see other people's blog, and you can really, interact with the backbone of the community. So, and that dashboard experience is amazing because not only you could have your own blog, you could curate what you want to follow and what topics or tags you're interested in, and it becomes very viral and amazing. So it feels like you interacted with the whole community. You don't feel alone. I had a WordPress blog before and felt very lonely sometimes because you're waiting for those comments, so you're waiting for people to see it. For Tumblr, that reward is just you know, a lot speedier and a lot more rewarding. I feel like, you know, when people actually get to see your posts in a more ginormous and more less time-consuming manner. Yeah.
No, it's definitely true. I experience the same thing. It is very lonely, and you do wait for the comments. I'm a blogger. I'm on Blogger.
Yeah.
I do have a Tumblr, and Valentine was explaining to me earlier what I need to do because I'm very sporadic with my posting on Tumblr. For Tumblr, I was explaining earlier that for Tumblr, I was feeding my Instagram images there because it was things that I saw during the day, and that was very natural to me compared to feeding my street style images or images from my blog. And I'll be really good for like 5 days, but then I'll go back to feeding, you know, images of the omelet that I make for my son in the morning because it makes me happy. So it's funny how you can have a certain kind of behavior on one platform versus the other, and it's easier for me to express myself that way and look for that, whereas I'm creating something else that maybe is pre-created because I'm doing it on the street, so it gets very interesting. Does anyone else have a question? Just wait for the mic.
Yeah, she's running around too. Yeah.
It's hot in here.
Yeah. Hi, I'm Nicola. I have a couple of questions, actually.
Sure.
One is, what did you think when you first learned about Tumblr and you were not working there? And the second would be, how's your work on an everyday basis at Tumblr as a fashion evangelist?
Sure.
Thank you.
Yeah, I became obsessed over Tumblr. I first discovered about 4 years ago just by searching images, because every time I discovered, anytime I would want to find a really good image, I'm a very visual person, I have an art website, all those images would come from Tumblr, and I'm like, well, why is that? So I started just like, you know, noticing that all my favorite images would come from Tumblr, and then I felt like I needed to be on there right away, so I joined for the first time. My first Tumblr, I guess, went live about 4 years ago. On an everyday basis, we work with a very young and creative team. You know, mostly in New York. We have 125 people in New York, and about 25 people that work remotely. You know, in different countries, or we have a few people in Los Angeles. And our support team is in Richmond, Virginia. But it's a very young, cool team. Everyone has their own pretty much schedule. I do probably about more meetings I would like, about 6 to 7 meetings a day. So mostly meeting with brands and individual designers. Sometimes you teach them like Tumblr 101 and introduce them, help them with URL registrations. I plan all our blogger events, and I meet with a lot of our like cool young people, which I love. That's sort of my favorite part of the day, at least, you know, once or twice a day, which is fantastic as well. And yeah, something is always happening. Like every week is a fashion week for us. We always like plan something big, whether so bloggers, like last year alone, they went to like the Met Gala or the CFDA Awards, or, you know, we collaborated with Margiela and Tiffany's and Calvin Klein and Berg of Goodman. And so we had pretty much an event every single week. So it's like you know, planning a wedding or birthday, you know, every single week there's always something happening, but it's exciting, you know, it's very fast moving. Like I said, since I joined the company, it's sort of a tripled in size and number of employees, so it's exciting to see, you know, that growth and being, you know, working with a very young and creative team. And David, you know, he's our CEO and founder, but he's 2 years younger than me, and he sits, you know, like everyone else, you know, in the offices, listens to everyone's ideas. He's very open and creative, and he's definitely, you know, one of the nicest person you could dream of, you know, working for. He's incredible, you know, so it's great to be in that environment.
Does anyone else have a question? Right there in the gray. She's right there.
Hello, I'm Gaia.
How are you?
Hello. I would like to ask you, in your opinion, which is the right approach for a fashion brand to be on Tumblr? Like, I mean, more a self-expression of the art director or more an institutional voice? I don't know. We see before Kate Spade other examples that are working well, in my opinion.
Yeah, you know, it's interesting because every single brand on Tumblr has their own sort of agenda and voice. There are Tumblrs that are just beautiful mood boards, so like Kate Spade is one of them, Tommy Hilfiger is another. There are designer Tumblrs, like Jean-Baptiste Valli has his personal Tumblr, and Prabal Gurung, you know, and they just are very protective of that. Then there are just huge brand Tumblrs like Calvin Klein or Ralph Lauren or Dior that sort of encompass everything. So my number one advice for brands is not to freak out about competitors, because they come into the meetings, they're like, you know, if I'm so-and-so, they're asking about their closest competitor, what are they doing, and I always tell people just to leave that at the door, and try to focus on what you do best, you know, what you want to express to people. We don't disclose follower accounts, so it kind of gives brands a little bit of a freedom to experiment, because you don't know whether a brand has 100,000 followers or 10,000 followers. Usually the most followed brands actually produce really beautiful content. So brands that put up exclusive, gorgeous content on Tumblr tend to do a lot better than brands that don't. So another common mistake that brands make is like literally put up the same image on like Tumblr, Pinterest, Twitter, Instagram. I'm like, I don't know, Jessica Alba wearing that dress, you know, and Tumblr users are a little bit spoiled. They like to see a little bit of artsier, more beautiful, you know, unseen images. So you have to give them something that they can't find anywhere else. You have to find them, you know, you have to give them those exclusive, gorgeous images. And I think that's the most important lesson for brands, you know, from my experience over the last 12 months.
Okay.
And what's the best approach for a fashion magazine?
We need the microphone.
And what's the best approach for a fashion magazine to be on Tumblr? You know, sometimes the editorial team have a bit of fear to share the content on other platforms apart from their website.
Yeah. I would say it's pretty much the same. I think, you know, Tumblr gives you a little bit of freedom to experiment and to do something crazy. For example, like magazine, they put up a lot of their exclusive on Tumblr, so they use GIFs instead of regular pictures to kind of like excite people. So when they had like the Joan Smalls, Carly Kloss dual image, they use a GIF to sort of introduce it. Vogue puts up a lot of their exclusives up on Tumblr as well in a cool and creative way, and they became a #1 magazine on the platform. But I think in general, you could actually do something crazy that you can't do on the website. You could, you know, put up pictures of like, you know, a lemonade that everyone is obsessed with in the office, you know, or just put like pictures of, you know, beautiful trends and pictures of, I don't know, dogs that everyone likes from the editorial team, you know. So a lot of the magazines that I've seen on Tumblr that have been successful, like, you know, even like the Nylon or French Vogue or even Australian Vogue, they do a really good job during Fashion Week. They really go into the personal lives of the editors, and they're not afraid to sort of break that barrier a little bit and be the bloggers themselves. And when you sort of act like a blogger on Tumblr, you get noticed by bloggers, and you get noticed by the community, because they could sort of like see through the fakeness when it's not genuine, you know. So I feel like the magazines that are open and are not afraid to like put up really cool exclusive personal pictures, that tend to do really, really well.
Does anyone else have a question? Okay, in the back, the penultima, yes, okay. Oh, she's gonna bring you the microphone. 1 second.
Yes, I am Valeria, hi.
Hi, Valeria.
Hi,
My question is whether, in your opinion, photographers love Tumblr or not, because of the copyright issues and, you know.
Yeah, absolutely. I think they love Tumblr. Honestly, in 5.5 years of its existence, Tumblr never had one copyright or trademark issue, in any of the fashion vertical, which is crazy. What happens for photographers, a lot of photographers have portfolio sites, and those portfolio sites are largely static because people normally don't, want to go to sebastiankim.com and see what his portfolio looks like. But on his Tumblr actually gets a lot more, visitors on his personal site. So Terry Richardson discovered that and turned his whole site into Tumblr. And Nazim Vinu then, joined. And Nick Knight has an incredible Tumblr full, show studio. And then Stephen Klein joined Tumblr. So some of the really biggest photographers in the world really set the precedent that I want my images out there. When you have about, 20 billion page views a month, you want people to sort of share and appreciate the content because it's going to get out there anyway. But if you sort of control the content and you're the first one to do it, you're going to get rewarded with the most notes and most appreciations from fans. So I think any photographer realizes that it's, the pictures are fair use and they're reblogged and they're liked, but when you're the first one sharing them, like Terry does or like Nick Knight does, you sort of control your own imagery and you control your own work.
I guess there might be a sort of the way that you post is really personal because, like I was saying before, like you pick an image in a certain moment because that image inspires you in that moment or makes you remember maybe the actual photo shoot, and each photo shoot is going to have a special, anecdote or memory. And I think that might allow followers to kind of enter a space where an institutional site might limit. So that could be, because if Terry Richardson does how many a day? Like
he does good like 12, 14 a day,
So there's like 12, 14 moments that he selected a certain image that has a certain randomness to it,
Totally,
Any other question?
Buonasera. My name is Oksana. I would like to ask you if there are some strategies or tactics to promote the blog, for example, for young designers or small businesses.
You can say it in Italian and
you just said that there is a tags that make images searchable on Google, for example. But there are other strategies, or how to promote yourself on Tumblr.
I think that for young designers, like my biggest advice is like to be part of the community. So, for example, when you're somebody like, I don't know, Lisa Salzer, she's a jewelry designer in New York. Her brand is called Lulu Frost. Now she suddenly, 2 years later, became one of the biggest, young designers on Tumblr. She has over, I think, 160,000 followers, which is, a lot for a young brand. So what?
This is her piece.
Yeah, really, it's beautiful.
From the Plaza series. Numbers from the doors.
What I advise, Lisa or any young designer to do is really be involved in the community. So you could track your own tag. For example, when she puts a Lulu Frost on Tumblr, I would advise for her to go every single day and see what people are doing organically and actually like stuff, and reblog stuff, and actually interact with those bloggers. So liking things really goes a long way because it makes you, it makes people that already love your stuff notice that you're on Tumblr, you're, appreciating them, and it takes like a second to, put a little heart on something. Another big component is to not underestimate the power of powerful bloggers on Tumblr for young designers. I mean, a lot of these young creators, they could be anywhere from 17 to 25 years old, and they have hundreds and hundreds of thousands of followers. And they still love young designers, they still love young creators, reaching out to them and actually, doing creative collaborations that really work for young designers. In my experience over the last year. And then, but I think the most important key is really being part of the community and really just, it's one thing to post, but you also want to appreciate other people's work and like their work and reblog their work. And, the more you're part of the community, the more you get noticed. And I think actually being on Tumblr is more crucial for young designers and bigger brands because, you know, since it's an equal playing field that they could actually do something really cool. Like Black Denim, for example, turned their whole site into a Tumblr about a year ago because I noticed that they generate a lot more, you know, Johan Lindeberger, their designer, you know, takes a lot of amazing black and white pictures, and they just translate better to Tumblr than they would on a regular website. So they decided to turn everything into Tumblr and just go with it, and it proved very, very successful for them. They don't need it, you know, they don't need an e-commerce site. They could just do everything for Tumblr, which is great.
Does anyone else have a question? Okay.
Hi, my name is Marco. My question is about how do you work with the companies, I mean with fashion companies in particular. I mean, do you also work on dedicated projects, programs together with companies on Tumblr?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, obviously brands are huge because we want them to be almost every big brand in America is on Tumblr at the moment. We have a lot of European brands joining in, I mean Italian ones. Pretty much, you know, we had Gucci and Armani and Dolce and Bottega that are on Tumblr, and French brands are joining in as we speak. But so we work with brands in different capacities. We do everything from onboarding, just helping them get the URL, getting them excited, and then we work on really cool, exciting projects. For example, like when Margiela launched with H&M. They wanted to invite not like a few, but they wanted to invite 35 Tumblr bloggers to spend time with Kanye during the launch. And that's something amazing and something they wouldn't ordinarily do, but they decided to do it for Tumblr bloggers and actually do something crazy and cool, and which was fantastic. You know, Tiffany did a whole big launch, you know, for their Tumblr. They did a big ball, you know, which was sort of unprecedented for the first time. We're working with Dior now and doing something really unprecedented, I think, in their history, you know, with Tumblr bloggers, which would be amazing as well. But yeah, we try to sort of come up with sort of creative solutions for brands of doing something really cool and unusual. Even when Corinne, when she launched, even though she's not a brand, but I think she's a huge fashion personality, she decided to spend about half a day with Tumblr bloggers. She showed her magazine and the website to Tumblr bloggers before she showed it to like New York Times, WWD, because she felt it was very important to be part of that community, and you really get rewarded. So we work with brands. I come, like I said, I come from strictly editorial background from my last 6 or 7 years, so it really helps up doing something cool and creative with sort of the companies that we collaborate with, and we like to take chances and do, you know, crazy projects, and luckily brands have been really great in doing that for us. For example, like Band of Outsiders, they half of their fashion show was at Tumblr headquarters this past season in New York, and we collaborated with Rodarce for the first time this season, which was great. So, you know, brands, you know, vary from being, you know, huge, like, you know, Tiffany's or Calvin Klein or Berg of Goodman. You know, they celebrated 111 years in New York last September, and we invited 111 bloggers to like go crazy, you know, in the store with Victoria Beckham and Tommy and Rachel Zoe, which was amazing. So they could be huge, they could be small, but we try to value all of them and create really cool collaborative projects with every company that we work with.
Okay, anyone else have a question? Come on. Anything. Ask us anything.
Doesn't have to be Tumblr.
No.
Yeah. I'm sure you could have.
What did we have for lunch?
Yeah.
Did I stalk him today? I stalked him today. I was heavy.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Just calling him, writing him, running after him.
Yeah, Gucci show.
At the Gucci show, he wanted to mingle with his friends, and I was like, nope. We have to ride over to social media together. You see what I do for you guys? And we just met. Come on, a question. Anything. You guys don't want to enhance your Tumblr? Come on.
Where did you buy that sweater?
Yeah.
It's beautiful.
Oh, thank you. This is from London. I think it's from a couple of years ago. Yeah, this is from London from a couple of years ago. I kind of feel like, I don't know, I feel like I'm in Olympics every time I wear it, so, you know, it's good, you know. I like it.
I had a pair of shoes that I used to wear. I have several pairs of shoes that I wear when I need to feel like I'm in the Olympics. They're all shiny or splattered.
I was also born in Moscow, so I feel like I'm, like gold, anything shiny, it probably like, you know, it's close to my heart, you know, so I can't resist, sorry guys, you know.
Did you hear that? You can ask him anything that you want now, okay? He confessed that the Russians like sparkly stuff.
Yeah,
you said it, so I can say
they could pretend they like Provenza, but they still like gold in the end, you know, so.
I'm Jamaican.
Yeah, too.
Okay, well, I guess it's a good time to have our guest Tumblrs up. They published the really beautiful and charming Tumblr called Le Fregole. It's super adorable, super inspiring, and they're going to give us a little presentation, and you can ask them questions too, and then they'll ask some more questions, Valentine some more questions, right? Okay, let's cue up the presentation. You guys come up here.
No pressure.
Thank you. Hello. Okay. I'm not very able.
Welcome. Don't be nervous.
No, I'm sorry. Siamo in streaming, ragazzi, dovete parlare sempre davanti al microfono.
Okay. Here, sit down. Sit down and be comfortable. You go here.
You want to sit?
Okay. I thought we had some more chairs. No.
You guys can sit closer together. You're a team.
Come here.
Hello everybody, I'm Daniela Zuccotti and I'm very happy to be here. Thank you very much for the invitation. Thank you to Tamu and all the Grazia staff and also the Tumblr staff for this invitation. And just a few words about myself and about Daria, who is my partner in this adventure, Fregole. We both work in advertising. I'm a copywriter.
No, she's not an art director.
I'm a copywriter and she's an art director. And we have been working in advertising since 10 years. And in the biggest agencies in Italy, I mean McCann Erickson, Armando Testa, and Dio Barnett. And now we are in an independent agency called Cayenne. And in this period, we had the chance to work on many fashion brands. And this is why we developed a huge interest in fashion. And so we decided to create a fashion blog. And I mean, as advertising teaches, we wanted to create a blog with an idea. Advertising teaches the idea must be very simple, very clear, very immediate. And I think we find this idea in the name of the blog, which is Fregole. Do you know what is a fregola? No.
No, neither
More or
Italian.
less. A fregola is a very Italian thing. I mean, my grandmother, when I was at high school, told me, thousands of years ago, told me, sei piena di fregole, c'hai le fregole. That is, you're full of fregole, you want something. Fregole is a burning desire you can't face. I mean, Oscar Wilde said, the only way to get rid of a temptation is to yell to it. And I think fregole are all the temptations you already decided to yell to. And grazie. I mean, a bag, a dress, a makeup, a pair of shoes, a furniture, a cake, a jewel, even a man. And when we talk about all these things, we try to put a smile always. So we speak of fashion or beauty, but always with lightness. Because lightness is the only thing you have to survive. Because life is very hard and you need to smile. That's, I think, it's an important value. But anyway, we have to speak about fashion, about beauty, and this is why we chose Tumblr. Because Tumblr, I think, is the best platform which offers all the performances a platform can give, but with a nice face, which is a very important thing.
Yeah, in fact, we choose Tumblr because it's friendly, it's warm, and it's beautiful. That is more or less what describes in the best way every fregola that we write, because every fregola is a post of ours. And we choose Tumblr for fregole also because it's flexible and user-friendly. And we didn't have any skill to try to write a blog. So we found that Tumblr was perfect because it allows a lot of customization, and I'm an art director and I wanted to customize everything without leaving you lost in despair, without template or coordinates. And it walks you step by step in all the levels of the creation of your blog. And it's very important if you are just starting to do that. And in the fregole style, in fact, we compare Tumblr to a mother, you know, that shows you how to lace up your first sneakers, but then when you're ready, let's put a wonderful pair of Louboutin, and she says, okay, let's go now, you can go do that. And we also use Tumblr because it's easy to tag, because there is a page where you can find all the most popular tags of that period, and you can use them in the right way. Tagging is very important to achieve followers, and the more you tag, we have seen, the more people can find you and can notice you, and then they go on following you. And another really important point is that Tumblr is very easy to share. It's born to be naturally linked with all the other social platforms like Facebook, Twitter, and Pinterest. We have a Facebook fan page that works very well, and we noticed that people who followed us on Facebook, then they click on Tumblr, and then they stay on Tumblr for many minutes, and they go surf there for a lot of time. And obviously we use Tumblr also as a daily source of inspiration, because we use it more or less as Google. We don't use anymore Google. We just use Tumblr. Because, you know, there is just a lot of beautiful things, and it's always a good place to find hints, answers, and new cool stuff to pick up and rethink. So when we have a fregola, you know, when we go on Tumblr and we find time on fregola every day, and so we go on writing. And so, thank you. I have told you everything about our experience on Tumblr. That is very short. So our speech was very short.
Congratulations, it's very beautiful.
Thank you very much.
Do you guys have any questions for the ladies? Any questions? We have a question.
Yes. First of all, how long have you been having this blog?
6 months. We are online since September.
Okay. And which is your target? You already thought how to position it, or?
I think
more women than men.
Yes.
We can see it because a lot of people that look at Tumblr arrives from Facebook, so we can see the profile of people. And we have a lot of women, some guys, and people is very various in the age. not just teen or...
And how about the attitude? I mean, which is the kind of people are you talking to?
We are talking to people who is interested in lightness, as Daniela was talking about, because we speak about a lot of arguments, fashion, lifestyle, and so on. So we don't want to talk just to people who loves fashion or who loves just lifestyle or cooking. We love beautiful things, and so we talk to people who loves beautiful things, I think.
Okay, thank you.
Do we have any other questions? Any questions?
Do you want to ask the girls any questions about their experience? No, I just want to bring them along to advertise Tumblr with me. So I just like carrying them in my entourage.
We would like. Advertising is boring.
Yes. Ma non diciamo perché magari c'è qualcuno.
There is the TV.
I don't know if you have any follow-ups. I mean, I could do like recaps.
Okay. Valentine is going to do a little recap for us, and then we've finished. Here you go.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, I mean, how do I describe, I guess, Tumblr in less than a few minutes again? But I think it's just, it's very easy to get on Tumblr. As you know, it takes like maybe 2 minutes to sign up. It's very easy to pick a theme and make it, very customizable. For anything, if you want to be on those dashboards, actually really become addicted and really find beautiful images and some of the world's most creative people, I really just encourage you guys to do it, to try it out. And yeah, go for it. Don't be boring. Contact me if you need any help. There's an incredible community in fashion and beauty and design and art. And if you just part of it in a little bit, with a few tiny posts or with a huge site or like a gorgeous blogs like yours, you could goes a long way. I mean, this is such an incredible platform. Like I said, we're hitting about 100 million users in a week and a half, and it's only expanding. So, and since I came on and really grew internationally, Tumblr used to be a very America-centric network, and then, for example, in countries like Brazil, last year Brazil, Tumblr was number 12 market there. I mean, number 12 social platform there. Now it's number 2. And right after Facebook, and it is like for UK and for Australia, and it's growing extremely speedily in Europe as well. We haven't done strategic launches yet, but in France and Italy and in Russia and Germany, it's actually been really, really expanding when we look at our numbers. So it's a good moment to actually get started, do something really cool and creative. Yeah, not to be afraid, and actually, find out what you really. I have 2 public Tumblrs. So I have my personal one, and I have one art site Tumblr called Art Ruby. And I have 3 secret Tumblrs, that one is about, one is about Olympics, one is about sweets, then I help Tommy Palm, a Pomeranian out. So you could have a Tumblr about anything and everything, and no one has to know. You could just really enjoy and be yourself and be creative. And it's not necessarily about promoting yourself, but it's about, finding that something that you're touched by, something that you're, something that sort of really sparks your creative instincts, and I think that's what it really comes down to.
Well, thank you very much. Thank you guys for your very, very illuminating questions. I'm going to dive into Tumblr, and I expect to see you there at some point. So go home tonight and sign up, and then find me, and I'll find you. Thank you.